the show. It's Chris Reardon, United Kingdom Talk. Email address to the show, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Sitting under the umbrella today. We're back in the garden today after a rather enjoyable show recorded in the forest last time, as you may or may not have seen. If you missed that one, then as always, with any shows that you missed, you can always have a look on the main United Kingdom Talk website, and all the old shows are on there, okay? You'll find that at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. It's just something very special about sitting in a forest, surrounded by the ferns and the trees and little animals. And you saw, I don't know, did we see the dog make an appearance or not? There was a bloke who walked past. Only one bloke walked past. I timed it carefully, you see, so that people wouldn't be close by. Because I know it sounds silly, because I know that you're there, right? But to normal people, to non-United Kingdom Talk viewers and listeners, they may think it's a bit odd. Some bloke sitting under a tree in the woods talking to a tripod. I mean, you know, you do get some strange men in the woods, and indeed the other day I was one of them. So we've got to go up there again. I was actually going to go up there this afternoon, but I'm not sure about the weather. The clouds are over, and then the sun's out, then the clouds are out, then the suns are out, so I'm not sure about that. But we will go back in the forest, and we'll find a nice quiet spot this time, I think, because you could clearly hear the motorway. When I was listening back to the programme, you could clearly hear the motorway and bikes and things going past. And there are other areas in the forest, not kind of on top of hills. There are other areas that I'd like to do the show in, like, for example, I'd like to get off the path, so to speak, and sort of traipse in there. But I was telling my other cousin, do you remember a couple of shows ago I told you my cousin Tim, who lives in Sydney, Australia, was recently bit by a huntsman spider? I was telling my other cousin that's his sister, who lives here in the UK, a lovely area actually, is it Wharton-on-Thames? No, they moved, didn't they? Oh, what's the name of the area they live? It's near Wharton-on-Thames, really nice, in Surrey. And I was telling her, I said, what about that, your brother getting bitten by a spider? And it all went quiet. She said, which brother? I said, oh, have I let the cat out of the door? Incidentally, I've got a cat story in a minute as well as the bank story. It's coming up today, I promise you. Cross my heart and hope to die. It's all right, I'm not dead. Not yet. Don't forget, I have been booked to do the next 250 years of United Kingdom Talk, and I'm going to speak for every single last second. Don't you worry about that. Anyway, back to the story. So I was telling cousin Helen, that is, there's all from the same family. There's Uncle Terry, that was my dad's brother. There's Auntie Marion, and their children are cousin Helen, who lives not far from me, about 25 minutes drive from me, that's all, near Wharton-on-Thames. There's cousin Tim, who lives in Sydney, Australia, married, 4 lovely children. And there's cousin Peter, who lives in Scotland. Oh, he's got a massive place in Scotland. Massive, huge place in Scotland. It's a lovely place to live if you don't mind the wind and the cold. The weather in Scotland is definitely colder than it is here in Royal Berkshire. We pay extra to have nice weather here. I've told you that many times before. But he's got a big house up there. It was cousin Tim, of course, in Australia. He was bitten by a huntsman spider. So I was telling Helen about this. She said, well, when did this happen? I said, a couple of weeks ago. He obviously didn't want you to know. I said, oh, hush my mouth. I've let the cat out of the bag again, dear. I mean, I don't mean to do that. I'm not one for gossip. You know that. Never one for... However, if you've ever got any gossip about anything at all, maybe, and I shouldn't really say this, maybe if you know someone else that listens to the show and you have a bit of gossip on them, then let me know. Oh, I love it. I don't usually like to gossip, but I like to hear it. So do let me know. Usually email address, okay? Chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. So I've told her, and she says, what sort of spider? I said, a huntsman. She said, oh, that's all right then. All he will have needed was a jab. Just like that, dear. I mean, these huntsman spiders are massive. They are really, honestly, the size of your hand, and the bodies are not small either. Not like little piddly things you get here in the UK. I mean, when people talk about a large spider in the UK, they generally mean great long legs. Okay? They don't mean a big body the size of my head. Oh, are there spiders that size? Does anyone know? Oh, that's scary, isn't it? Can you imagine that? A spider, but going round a corner. I'm sorry, I've got itchy ear again today. We've got the itchy ears back again, I'm afraid. Oh, let me have a good scratch of that ear. Never put cotton wool buds in, I told you before. Can you imagine coming round a corner? Oh, I've scared you now, haven't I? I bet I've scared Joy in Acton. Imagine walking round a corner and there's a spider on a web in front of you with a body the size of your head. And the legs. Oh, they would be massive, wouldn't they? Anyway, back to the story. So Helen, she brushed it. Oh, that's all right then. He'll only need a jab. So, yeah, scary. But I was telling Helen about. Well, I said, well, that's it. I can't go to Australia again now. Not after that. All those dangerous animals. She says, oh, please. She says, what about the dangerous animals? I said, what dangerous animals, dear? She said, well, we have adders here. I said, where do we have adders? And she says, oh, Hampshire, places like that, we have adders. They bite you, you need hospital treatment. And I started, well, of course, I rushed out into the garden, dear. Rushed out into the garden and started moving plants carefully to one side. I mean, what about my pussies? What about my pussycats? You know, they could be quietly sitting there, just enjoying the midday sun, and then a snake would suddenly slither. No, they sliver, didn't they? I mean, come on, be honest. We all know a few snakes, don't we, my loves? I think I work for one or two as well. That one could sliver suddenly out of the bushes and attack my cat. Who would win? The cat or the snake? That's the question. Because you do get snakes that can eat small mammals, don't you? Oh, it's all very scary. So she was saying that. And then, anyway, we finished the conversation. Helen, I do like cousin Helen. She's very posh. Oh, yeah, but she doesn't like to spend money. You think I'm bad? You wait till you meet cousin Helen. She does not like to spend money. I shouldn't tell you this as well. But when she was small, about 9 years old, on Boxing Day, we all... do you know, I'm sure it's something crawled in my ear. Oh, that itchy ear. Oh, yeah. When we were smaller, always on Boxing Day, all the family would gather round at one of my aunties and uncle's house. And whenever it was round cousin Helen's house, that's Auntie Marion and Uncle Terry's house, during Christmas dinner, she would insist, for some reason, to stand on a chair and start singing Christmas carols. Well, cousin Helen's now over 40, and I do like to constantly remind her how she used to stand there on the chair in a little ballet-type dress and sing Christmas carols. Ding dong merrily on high, in heaven the bells are ringing. Well, we're not doing singing today. No. Oh. A lot of birds suddenly coming out there, obviously to come and say, you see, even the birds here in Royal Berkshire, they know you're there and they want to say hello to you. Isn't that nice? It's all very friendly. The people, the birds, the dogs, even the snakes come up and say hello. So thinking about what Helen said, when I put the phone down, I kind of suddenly thought to myself, well, what about when I'm in the forest? And then I remembered, when I was over there jogging last year, on 3 occasions, I saw snakes. And that wasn't even in the undergrowth. This would have been on the pathway that people walk through, like a pathway made out of little bits of stones and things. You know, it's not concrete or anything like that. It does fit in with the forest. More like a mud path, really. And There were 3 occasions actually where I saw a snake, and as soon as I came running down, the thing like slid back into the bushes, you know, waiting to pounce. And I sort of thought to myself, well, what about me doing the show the other day? There I was, gone up there, sat underneath a tree, set up my gear and just chatted, because of course while I'm looking at you, and I can see you know, please don't be sitting at your computer naked. I mean, it's not an... I mean, well, I'm not saying it's not a nice sight, but please, I mean, a little bit of decorum for the programme. When Frank Sinatra used to do a concert, people used to have to go in tuxedos and bow ties and everything. Can you not do the same when you're watching my programme? Can you not dress up a little? I mean, I've you know, recently, I've taken the opportunity of dressing up for you. I used to just appear here in an old t-shirt and a pair of old tracksuit bottoms. Now, expensive, properly ironed shirts, although, as you can probably see, the tracksuit bottoms are still there. Terrible. So what about that? Is it safe to continue doing my programmes in the forest with all these adders sliding around all over the place? What if I get bitten? And I think they were adders that I saw. Certainly, I think, well, I only really saw one properly, and that did have black diamonds on it, which I gather is an adder. Does it mean keep away the black diamonds? All a bit worrying, really. Chris@UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk is the email address. I want to say hello today to Matt, who's in Croydon, and his little merry men. Hello, Matt. Now, Matt is just a recent new viewer to the programme. Matt is a viewer. Some people are viewers, some people are listeners, and some people are both. But Matt, I'll tell you about Matt. Well, first of all, he pointed out, he said, can you please do something about the squeaky chair? Now look, Matt. Listen, everyone, listen carefully. Can you hear any chairs squeaking? No, you can't, can you? That is because the square that cheeked, shut up. The chair that squeaked is actually a garden chair. Now let me go and get it. It's over here. Right, listen. Now if I sit on this, can you hear that? Can you hear that? Listen. Right, that's squeaky. Now what I've done is get the kitchen chair from indoors. And this is a non-squeaky chair. All right, Matt? Just for you, I've done that. My friend Matt in Croydon. Now I met Matt. About 4 years ago when I was working at a big nightclub in London called Heaven, and I used to do Wednesday nights in there. And one day Matt came up and says hello, introduced himself, and he's a DJ as well. He does a lot of personality DJ, you know, where you stand in front of loads of people and give it a bit of mouth every now and again on the microphone. And ever since then we've remained close friends, and he used to bring new people into the club all the time, didn't you, Matt? There was young Carl. There was well, we call it, there was white Carl, there was black Carl, there was Paul. He was my favourite, as you know, little Paul, pretty boy Paul. I'm starting to sound like an old git, you know. Who else was there? There was oh, who was the girl who used to come with you? I can't remember who the girl was now. No, anyway. And Matt used to come in, and he always had the audacity. Actually, it wasn't too bad, but I often had people come in and ask for free drinks tickets as well, because being as you work there, you are kind of given some free drinks tickets. And the cheekier among the people, usually the younger ones, about 18 or 19, they used to come up and ask for free drinks tickets. What a cheek! Don't you think it's a bit of a cheek? Because we also had a guest list as well. So as Matt was bringing people, I'd add them onto my guest list. So in future weeks, they wouldn't have to pay to get into the club. So all they'd have to do is buy the drinks all night. But then they were coming up and asking for the free drinks tickets as well. I mean, I just wouldn't have the cheek to do that, would you? Isn't it? It's a bit off. It's only the young ones. Matt, I don't think Matt a couple of times when he's a bit short of money, he used to say, oh, I don't suppose you've got any drinks to get. You see, you shouldn't ask, Matt. You shouldn't, mind you, my mum used to say if you don't ask, you don't get. Oh, I don't know. But it was a nice little mixed age range of people. I think he's about 28 or 29 now. The one I liked, Paul, he's about 25, 26. There were some younger ones as well, 18, 19. And I quite like talking to the younger ones. They kind of treat you as how can I explain? Almost like a dad, really, which is quite nice. You get to know all their problems and all the relationship problems and all that. It's fantastic. And I like to help. You know I like to help. Maybe I should have done something like that. I don't know. What's that called when you have people round to talk to them about things? Not consultant. Oh, what's that called now? Consultant? No, not consultant. It's not, is it? Or is it consultancy? Oh, you know when there's something wrong and you go and see someone. What's that called? No, I can't remember. Therapist, that's it, therapist. Perhaps I should have been a therapist, something like that. Could have had all these people of all different ages coming round for advice. And I'd be the one to give it, would I? The one with the failed marriage and no relationship. You can't win, can you? So nice to see you, Matt, and I'm glad you're enjoying our little shows. He said we need more shows. He thought I was only doing one a week. There are 3 of these shows a week, Matt. When can you watch them or listen to them? Well, that depends how you watch them or listen to them now. If you're listening to this on a radio station, then you need to check your station's details for information. Recently, of course, you may remember I mentioned RTI in Slovakia. They're no longer taking the show on FM, but it is continuing on Sky Satellite. And okay, so as I say, whatever station you're listening to this on, you need to check the station's schedule for more information of when you can watch it. If you listen or watch via podcast, then as always, you can get that from unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Alright, unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. And the new shows come out on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays at 12 o'clock UK time. Okay, that's 12 midday. Now at the moment we're on British Summer Time, alright, which is 1 hour ahead of GMT. But I mean, if you're on the computer, you know, just type in world clock or something like that. So 12 o'clock on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays is 9 times out of 10, most of the time is when the new shows come out on there. Okay? Thank you, Matt. So, look, chair sorted. I was slouching, and did you see me slouch? Is that better? I just put my feet up like that. All right, geezer. And, you know, just don't worry about a thing. It's all right, isn't it, mate? This is lazy. I feel really lazy now. I think we have to do a show on a settee. I wonder if I can get the settee out here. It would be like one of those breakfast TV shows, wouldn't it? Although I couldn't have a co-presenter, or they wouldn't get a word in edgeways, would they? I have done a couple of radio shows with co-presenters before, but it don't really work for me for whatever reason. I don't know why. All right, welcome along, Matt. Pass around the address of the show, won't you? unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Karaoke. Karaoke on Friday night at the Steam Coach. Now, bad news there. We've had to go back at the moment to disco only because we've got a little bit of a problem with the noise there. It's funny, actually, because I've been actually doing the disco in the Steam Coach. This is in Hemel Hempstead, okay, on Friday night for about 4 years now on a Friday night. Never had a problem. Never had a problem with the noise. Since we've been doing karaoke, complaints. Now, I'm never one to say who the good singers are. Well, yes, I'll always tell you who the good singers are, but I never, ever tell you who the bad singers are. You can't do that, because they'd never come back again. But my guess is we've had a couple of bad singers there. and the neighbours around are not enjoying them. So there's been a couple of complaints, so we've had to knock the karaoke on the head now. It wasn't, you know, a proper karaoke night anyway. We were only doing like one here and one there. But we've had to knock that on the head for a while, unfortunately. Alright, so no more karaoke at the moment down the steam coach in Hemel Hempstead. Now, the bank story at last. How many shows have you been waiting for this? Okay, I will not mention the name of the bank, but usually this bank is very friendly, very efficient. I quite like it in there, quite like it now. So the other day, I've gone in a bank. Now I usually put the money in a machine. Okay, now some people are a little bit funny with that, but I've been using machines to put money in for quite some time now. When I say putting money in a machine, there are two machines. There's one on the outside wall, so you can actually put money in 24 hours a day, assuming, of course, the machine's working. It's not always working, is it? If you're outside, you know, middle of the night, you want to put money in, then you've got the machine in the wall, and you push some buttons, and an envelope comes out. You put your money in the envelope, push it in the machine, and that's it. A lot of people are very funny with that. They wouldn't trust whoever's opening at the other end. Let me tell you, I've been using that method to put money in now for 7 or 8 years. Never had a problem. Just been a couple of occurrences. Number one, this was about 5 years ago, when I put some money in a place, and like 5 days later it still hadn't credited to my account. So I rung up the bank in question. It wasn't my usual bank, okay, it was a different branch. So I rung up the bank in question, and they said, "Oh, I'm very sorry, Mr. Reardon, someone's lost the keys." And I'm like, what do you mean someone's lost the keys? Someone's lost the keys to the safe, so no one can get in these keys. So no one can get in this safe. You know, you would have thought someone had a spare set of keys, wouldn't you? But don't worry, we will credit your account and backdate it to the time and the date that you put the money in. So a couple of days later, that was it. You know, the money suddenly credited to my account, and that was the end of it. And that kind of got me thinking that it's a pretty safe thing to do, isn't it? They also, apparently, have 2 people open the money at the same time. Well, that's what they tell you anyway. So if there's a mistake, both people would see it. That's probably to stop someone nicking the money, I suppose. I don't know. So that was one occurrence. And the only other problem I ever had was when I put my card in, put the money in, push the buttons, and it took the money and the card, and I'm waiting, and nothing else happened. And I thought, oh, this card's going to go. And I waited, and the machine just stuck. So I hit the cancel button, and all of a sudden the whole machine just went off, switched off, and it looked like it rebooted, you know, when the picture starts and a Windows logo comes up and everything. And of course, no card. I rang them the next day, and I said, "Hello, this is so-and-so." "Oh, yes, okay. Can you tell us, sir, what's your name, please?" "Okay, hold on a minute." And so he come back. "Yeah, we've got your card here. You can either come in and collect it, or we can send it to you. What do you want us to do, sir?" I said, "Oh, send it to us in the post," and that was that. So brilliant. Never had a problem, and I've been using that method now for 8 years, okay? So, the other machine is actually in the bank itself. I have 2 machines in the bank, one very similar to the one that's outside, and they have another one which you can actually put cash in without putting it in the envelope. Oh, it's marvellous. A great, huge machine this, a great big machine this is in the corner of the bank, right? When I say you can put cash in, well, of course, I put cash in the one in the outside, but there, you... Oh, I can't believe it, someone's mowing the grass. Can you hear that, dear? You would have thought they waited for me to finish my show, wouldn't you? Can you hear that? What a liberty, dear. Anyway, we'll carry on. the machine, the hole in the wall machine, okay, gives you an envelope. You put the money in, okay. The next day, someone opens the envelope and they count the money. All right. The big machine in the branch itself, you just put cash in, okay. So you might have perhaps one note, or you might have a little stack of notes, and you put them all together, and you push some buttons on the machine. And you put it in the hole, and it takes the money and counts it. It counts the money, dear. Now, it's not 100%. When you put those notes in, you have to make sure that the edges of the paper are all sort of fairly flat and not folded over. Otherwise, it rejects your money. But it's very clever. Isn't it clever? I think it is anyway. Also, when you're making a deposit in that machine, you don't need to put in your PIN number. You just put the card in, and if you hit deposit, it doesn't ask for a PIN number or anything like that. So that's all good. So, and that's how it usually works. So it counts your money. It's not quick. I would say it must take about 30... Once you put your money in, it must take, I suppose, about 30 seconds to count... Oh, it feels like 30 seconds anyway. 30 seconds or so to count up all the money. And then it says, I have, I don't know, £100. Do you wish to proceed? And so you know in your mind, is that the right money or not? And if it is, you just hit proceed, and then it does some more stuff. Your account is credited immediately, and then you push the button and the card comes out again. How fantastic is that? Oh, I love these bits and pieces. And as I say, they don't always work. Sometimes they're out of order, which is a bit of a pain. I often wonder, I mean, obviously, the banks would love a bank full of just machines, so it wouldn't have to pay people. But with the amount of times these machines go wrong, I wonder sometimes, do they really save as much money as they think they're going to save? Listen, what a cheek in it. Do you think I should say something? Do you have to cut your grass now? I'm not sure which neighbour it is. I don't think it's the one next to me. They're away at the moment. Must be the one down the end. Oh, she's alright though, she is. I love her. Pearl, her name is. Pearl down the end. Now, I told you she's got a new little Alsatian dog, didn't I? And it's got a little floppy ear. One of the ears is floppy. And it is lovely, this dog. And it knows me. Whenever I walk past, I always think it's a good idea, you know, it's a good thing when you walk past someone's house and the dogs ignore you, because they obviously know you, that you're not an evil burglar, that you have your hands chopped off. I know, we mentioned that the other week. I was thinking about that the other day. You know, I said to you, if a burglar does burglary, he should have hands chopped off. I think he should have one chance. I've decided. You should have one chance. So the first offence, bang him up in prison for 6 months. Okay? If he lets out, if he does the burglary again or something like that, off with the hands. Chop them off, dear. Chop them off. Of course, people would say, oh, how's he going to eat? It's not my problem. Not my problem. And I bet you burglary rates would come down in this country, just like they have in Saudi Arabia. Don't have burglary problem there. They chop your hands off. Anyway, back to this story. So I've told you about the machines that are in there. So the other day, walked in there, machines out of order. Oh, here we go. Looked across, and actually there were only 2 people in the queue. I thought, oh, this is going to be nice and quick, because sometimes, I mean, even with all these machines, there are a lot of people that don't like using machines in banks. A lot of elderly people, which I don't have a problem with, okay? If you don't want to use a machine, then I absolutely agree that you should always have people on that counter. I'd rather, even though that machine's there, I'd still rather go and talk to the people on the counter, and they know me. Well, most of them know me, except on this occasion. Are you ready for this, dear? So, I've gone in the queue. They have 4 checkouts. As I say, normally, very happy with this bank. Very, very happy indeed. Have been for a long time. So, I've stood in this queue, 2 people in front of me, and there's 1 cashier open. I believe in America you call them tellers, don't you? Do you call them tellers? I like that word, teller. So 1 cashier point open. So I thought, and at this cashier point, there's a poor dear old lady with a walking stick who's kind of holding onto the counter while this woman's talking to her. So we're standing there for a while, and I don't know about you, I'm not very good in queues. Okay, I'm really not very good in queues. Quite often in supermarkets in the past, I've stood in the queue for 10 minutes and then walked out and left the trolley basket full of stuff there. Can't stand it. Can't stand queuing. All right? Now, so we're standing there. I'm starting to get a little bit irate now. A little bit irate. At that point, 2 other people came out the back office and thought, oh, here we go, they're going to open some more checkouts. Oh no, they've gone straight over to the cashier that's dealing with this poor old lady. And I thought, oh. Anyway, so they finished talking and they walked off, and I thought, oh, they're going to sit at their checkouts now. Oh no, they went back in the office. And now there's another 2 people standing behind me in the queue. Right? So this is going on, and I'm getting more and more irate then, now. And then I heard the old woman say, you'll have to give me the forms back. I really can't stand up any longer. Now, what would you expect to happen at that point? Yes. You would have thought someone had offered her a chair, wouldn't you? Do you know what? The cashier... I watched. She didn't, on her computer, she didn't even look up. And that was enough to send me over the boiling point. I said, oh, for God's sake, excuse me, love, do you want a chair? And she turned around, said, do you want a chair, love? Oh, she said, that would be ever so kind. I said, I'll sort it out for you. Clearly no one else is going to. So, next to these cashiers are some offices. 1, 2, 3 each side with lovely glass doors. Very nice, very clinical, you know, I suppose very business. And it's funny though, you know, you go in these banks now, they've had refurbishments now and things like that, and it looks so temporary, doesn't it, to you? Mind you, that's like a lot of things, even the new houses that they build. Some of these new houses, I'm sure you've been in with the plasterboard. It all looks so temporary. Not like buildings in the past. When you look at some of the wooden... I know in America you have a lot of the wooden houses there, don't you? And here in the UK, the new build houses. When you look at those houses, and then you look at buildings built back in the Victorian times, do you really think these new houses are going to stand up as long as those ones built in the Victorian times? I'm sure they won't. And you know, the bank looks just like all looks very nice and clinical, but it doesn't look permanent. Maybe they're going to run off tomorrow with all that money, I don't know. So 6 offices. I went to the first one. There's some great big bloke sitting there at his computer, tap, 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 you know, like tapping away on the computer. And I pulled the door back. I don't know what came over me. I said, excuse me, can you get that old lady a chair, please? She's standing there, she can't sit down. And she can't, I just heard her, she can't stand up any longer. Oh, and he's looking around like absolutely gormless. Gormless, dear. Gormless. Oh, so he's got up. I says, well, you know, just get her a chair. She needs to sit down. Oh, did she ask the cashier for a chair? He went, oh, did she ask the cashier for a chair? I said, no, she didn't ask the cashier for a chair, but I heard her say that she couldn't stand up any longer. Just give her that chair over there. And, you know, I was about to get it, but then he went out and says, oh, do you want a chair? Oh, it's gormless, gormless. Eventually a chair came out, and she sat down. She turned around and said, thank you to me. And as the bloke walked off, I said, thanks very much, mate. It didn't even look up. Didn't even look up. But that's the sort of thing I think is important. I just think something like that is so important when you need to hear the needs of your customers rather than just doing the job perhaps that you're being paid for. How many times perhaps have we all heard, it's not my job, or that's not mine? I go around the house, a similar thing, I go around the house and pick up bits of rubbish sometimes. Maybe cans of beer thrown down there by, I don't know, young lads out for a night on the town, and you know what they're like. We've all done it, I suppose. when we were younger. I'll go around the house and pick up tins and things like that, bits of rubbish. Very few people do it. The general thing would be, well, it's not mine. How many times have you heard that? Even in a pub, you know, you might say, is that yours down there? No, it's not mine. And they just walk off, leave the bit of paper on the floor. Why pick up something? Nothing to do with me, mate. It's just, it's an attitude which is prevalent now, I think. It certainly wasn't like that when I was a child. If I ever shoved a sweet paper out of the car window, my mum would have gone mad, absolutely mad. So there we are. All right, so that's the bank story at last. And I did think about writing a letter in about this. I mean, I was just, you don't treat elderly people like that. Maybe the cashier didn't hear her. Maybe she was, because there was clearly some sort of problem. The old lady was having some sort of problem at the cashier's end, and they didn't seem to be quite sure what to do about it. Maybe the cashier was too busy and didn't hear the lady, but still, you know what I mean. Chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk is the email address. Right, let's do some emails, my darlings. Well, I've got these in order here. Here we go. First of all, hello to Victor. Hello, Victor, in Brazil. Rio de Janeiro. That song. Rio, da 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 da. Hi, Chris. Sorry not to write to you again quickly. We had some problems with the internet. We all have problems with the internet. Don't worry about it, Victor. Better late than never. Except in the case of the tax authorities. He said, yeah, we have many, because I asked Victor, because he's in Brazil, whether they had many dangerous animals in the Brazilian rainforest, because there is somewhere I'd like to visit. He says, yeah, we do have many animals dangerous and calms in the rainforest here. Crocodiles, he says, I don't know really. They are mostly in the centre of the Brazilina region, Pantanal, is it? But there are varieties of snakes, jaguars, wow, and monkeys. Are monkeys dangerous? Monkeys aren't dangerous, are they? I didn't think monkeys were dangerous. But not, of course. Oh, I've dropped my pen. It says, not, of course, here in Rio. That is in the Amazon. The Amazon rainforest. Yeah, I'd like to see that. He says, I've added you to Facebook. Nice to hear that you want to visit Rio. It's a beautiful city. Best regards from Victor. Thank you, Victor. Nice to hear from you, sir. All the way in Brazil. Yep, that is on one of my places to visit. The Brazilian rainforest. God knows what I'm going to do all these things. You know, I was saying this to you on the other show. I fill in my time so much with jobs and things that I perhaps would like to do never happen. Mad, isn't it? Mad, isn't it? I've got to find some time to do some other stuff. Thank you, Ria. Sorry, Victor. Don't forget, if you do want to add me to your Facebook bits and pieces, then you can find me. Chris Reardon, London. Should bring up the little picture of me, which at the moment I think it's me holding a teacup. Okay? Chris Reardon, London on the Facebook thing. Now, I've got to say hello to Julian and Romy. Alright? Because Julian and Romy came down and played Bingay last Monday. Julian and Romy from Argentina. They moved here a couple of months ago now. Both are doing very well. They've now both got jobs. They've got a nice place to live. Not only that, they came down to Bingay and won a prize, didn't you? They won and they selected from our lot, because there were about 150 prizes to choose from. They selected from my huge range of prizes a toaster. A toaster. They've sent some photos as well. If you want to see a photo of Romy and her new toaster, then go to the United Kingdom Talk website, unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, and look at the show dated, oh, I'm going to get this wrong now, I might, 21st of June, Saturday the 21st of June, okay? And you should there see a picture of Romy with her new toaster just after finishing playing Bingay at the Golden Lion on Monday nights. And he sent some more pictures. Julian says, we had fun the other day in Bingay. Here's a photo of Romy with the toaster, which of course I've attached to this particular programme, okay? Once again, if you want to see that photo, go to unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Look for the show dated the Saturday the 21st of June. All right? And I wrote back and say, you must plug in your toaster, because at that point they hadn't tried it. And he says, I just had 2 toasts. The first, I like the way you say that, the first pair of toasts ever to come out of that appliance. While I was... I think you're very lucky plugging in anything you've won at my prices. As I like to say to people, if you ever come down to Bingay on a Monday or Tuesday night and you win any of our prizes at all, the electrical prizes, please stand well back when you plug them in. Okay? Do not under any circumstances send the guarantee off or anything like that, because they're all stolen goods. No, I'm only joking. People often say, where do you get your prizes from? Actually, it's no secret really. They come from various different places. Some of the larger supermarkets here in the UK. Asda. I get a lot of prizes from Asda. Sometimes Tesco's, Argos, Woolworths, and they're about the only ones. The drink, when someone wins alcoholic drinks, they tend to come from Sainsbury's. The only reason for that is it's just up the road. Okay, they used to come from Asda, but what happened? Well, some of them still do come from Asda, but what happened is that the branch of Asda I used to do all the Bingay shopping in suddenly stopped selling alcohol after 12 midnight. All to do with people drinking on the streets and all that sort of thing. So now I have to go to the one in Roehampton, which is quite nice because that's where I used to live, and Mum and Dad are buried actually just behind the supermarket, so it's quite nice to be close to them while I'm doing the shopping. Julian says, while I was writing to you, Romy went into the kitchen and prepared the toast with jam. She then went to the kitchen again and I ate them all. Poor Romy, she came back only to find some breadcrumbs. Thank you, Julian and Romy. Lovely to see you. And they've got some tickets because they recently went to visit Windsor Castle, which is... I didn't realise they were going to visit that because it's actually only just down the road from me. And let me just move my microphone around a little bit. And I said to them, next time you come down there, because they bought a ticket. I think, how much was this ticket? I think it was about wasn't cheap actually. It was about £14, but that gives them a year's access, so they can go back there as many times as they want to. So that's not bad, is it? And I did say to them, next time they go to Windsor Castle, let me know, and if everything's okay, I'll try and meet up with them and perhaps bring them back here. We can have afternoon tea here in the Mirable Studios, all right? Got to say hello to Wayne Anonymous. Now, of course, it's recently his mum's 88th birthday, Estelle. Do you remember that? We sang Happy Birthday on the piano and what have you. And Estelle doesn't have a computer, so what I did was I put the whole show on a DVD to her and sent it across to the States for her birthday. And I gather it arrived on the correct day. It arrived on her birthday. I'm pretty sure of that. I've just got a little note here from Wayne's who says, Chris, I can see the look on Mum's face when she watches your programme on DVD. She has a DVD plugged into the audio video jacks on the front of her TV that has only played DVDs from TV ministers asking for donations. Oh, there's nothing wrong with that, is there? Perhaps you could tag your DVD with a begging video for Chris's Cat Food Fund. When she sees and hears you singing happy birthday to her, she will be very surprised. Thanks for your efforts. And I know, actually, I don't think I've printed off the email. I know I've got another couple of emails from Wayne upstairs because he had a bit of a problem getting the DVD to play for some reason. Because he was saying usually he just puts a DVD in a machine and it plays without having to do anything. Well, my ones you actually have to hit the play button, and this. He worked that out eventually, and they watched the DVD, and she liked it very much. So I'm very pleased about that. All right, let's see. Here she is. It's Suko. It's our Suko, and Suko writes, "Dear Chris, you know, as your public relations person, I usually plug United Kingdom Talk each week on the matinee. Yes, and I do appreciate that. I know you do, actually, Suko. I am informed of these occurrences, my darling. She says, well, this week, when I mentioned your name, both James and Madam Aries' hackles went up. Well, of course they would do, dear. They would do that. They don't like the spotlight moved from them. This is the thing. They really don't like the spotlight moved from them, dear. Apparently, you are persona non grata because of something you said about them or to them on one of your shows which has not yet aired. They said it would be on your show next week. Okay, now you've gone and done it. Do I have to keep a list of insults you make to people along with the list of fast food jaunts? Well, you can if you want to, dear. It's all right. I don't have a problem with that. She says, which, by the way, has grown this week, my fast food intake. Yes, because of your unfortunate reference to eating humans, especially Americans. Hawaiians are Americans, you know. Yes, but we were talking about a Hawaiian. Yes, I was saying to you, because I had a Hawaiian pizza the other day, and I was a little bit concerned that it did contain pieces of real Hawaiians, which is a worry. On the other hand, why don't we have fast food outlets for cannibals? I mean, they've got to eat, dear. They've got to eat the same as everyone else, haven't they? I am charging you not only eat your pizza, but John's too. Yes, John is you'd love to meet him as well, Suko. John is a lovely man I work for at West 5, where we do the Bingay on Tuesday night, and of course I did he was at the Golden Lion as well while I was there, and I've actually known him for many years, Suko, and I have to say, we went for a period where we didn't get on, and I'll tell you the story, and you will actually understand that, and me and him now laugh about it. I'd known him for a while, and he used to come in the Black Cat, where of course I don't work there anymore, and then he took it over. Now, here's the situation. Me, being in the Black Cat 12 years, him, new boy, comes in, takes over as manager. Do you see the problem already? Yeah? Anyway, and he would suggest things, and immediately my back would go up, because, you know, been there so long, know it all, you know, the sort of thing. And we really did not have, by the time he left the Black Cat, we did not have a good relationship at all. We really didn't. However, time passed, and then he got the Golden Lion about it must be about a year and a half ago now. Now, what was that? Did you hear that bang? What was that? I think that was a pine cone falling down. But after John had gone from the Black Cap, and as time went on, I kind of thought, well, actually, he was probably would have been a very, very good manager for that place. The trouble is, you know, if you're there a long time and someone new comes in and starts telling you what to do, it doesn't work. I mean, there is actually a lot to be said from a manager's point of view of having a clean sweep. It's very difficult to accept someone's authority who's just come in. Yeah, I'm sure you understand what I mean. As time went on, I thought, you know, his heart was in the right place. It really was. And another friend of his, Richard, I'm sure you've heard me talk about Richard in London, he's the estate agent. I often spoke to him about this and says, you know, it's a shame that John and I didn't get on. I think it would have been a really good relationship, this, that and the other. Well, then John got the Golden Lion, and hey presto, he rang me and said, did I want to work there? So I said yes straight away. Now, completely different setup now, because the manager of a venue is asking me to go and work for him. So, you know, you take his ideas. Completely different situation. And ever since then, we get on really well. And he's such a pleasure to work with. He really is, Suko. And he's someone that I'd like you to meet if you ever come over here, alright? She says, I'm charging you with not only eating your pizza, but John's too, and 3/4 of a tub of Ben and Jerry's cookie dough ice cream. Ain't it delicious? Oh, Now, the current list reads like this. Now, you remember, this is my list of fast foods. My New Year's resolution was not to visit fast food restaurants more than 10 times this year, okay? And to avoid most bad foods. So here's my current list. April, actually 6 sausage rolls because you had 2 more for breakfast at Sharon's. May, 8 chocolate marshmallow cakes. June, here's the bad one, 2 Hawaiian pizzas and 3/4 of a pint of Ben & Jerry's cookie dough ice cream. Thank you, Suko. She's not going to let me get away, is she? Eh? Now, what have I had this week? Anything bad? No. No, Suko. Do you know what I did this week? You know the place where I usually have an ice cream twice a week? I have an ice cream with little flake on the top, you know, with the soft ice cream, right? I replaced that this week with a little Tupperware tub of grapes and a banana. It's all right, isn't it? It's looking the right way. I'll try and do that in future, where we'll try and knock out the ice creams. And you see, the trouble is, when I've got the food in the bag, you tend to eat it, and what can happen is that I could start with, oh, I might as well have those grapes, and then later on you want to have the ice cream as well, so that's a possibility. We'll have to see how it goes. Sugo says, I think I might have to come to England to keep an eye on you to make sure you don't fall off the wagon. I will have to write a begging letter to the next winner of the Irish sweepstakes or the British lottery to finance the trip. However, so if you hear of anyone winning really big, let me know who you are. Are you going to start sending begging letters round, are you? I tell you what, Suka, if you do come over, I don't suppose you'd like to move into my kitchen for a couple of weeks. It needs doing. I need the kitchen cleaned. You see, this Mum, as you know, has been gone now for 8 years. But whenever Mum come round, she'd do the oven and the kitchen, and I can't think when it's been done since, to be honest. I mean, my sister's been round once, and of course Stacey, that's my nephew Gary and his girlfriend Stacey, they've been round, and she did a little bit of a clean. I'll have to get her round again soon. But Suko, maybe you'd like to move into the kitchen and take over for a week. But please, none of that Chinese food, dear. I tried some again on Monday and I hated it. It was bean sprouts and beef or something. I don't know what it was, dear. Sausage, egg, beans and chips only, thank you. She said, actually, I've got a nice dinner later on today. I've got my fish dinner. Haddock in breadcrumbs and loads of vegetables chopped up and in the oven for an hour. It's delicious, delicious. She said, to change the subject, yesterday, while I was watching your June the 5th show on YouTube, when the phone rang, I turned the sound off while I was on the phone but continued to watch. All of a sudden, I saw you jump up on the chair, crouch down and do a wonderful impression of J. Fred Muggs, the famous chimpanzee. I've never heard of him. J. Fred Muggs? Who is he? Was he in, I'm guessing here, was he the Tarzan chimpanzee or something like that? You were fabulous. Did you? What was it I was doing again? I can't remember now. I was doing an impression of something, wasn't I? What was that I was doing, jumping on the chair? Oh, I can't remember, Suko. She says, it's so clever how you introduce your many hidden talents gradually. Just when we think we've seen them all, you come up with new ones to amaze and amuse us all. Oh, and how about doing the shows closer to airing time? Yes, this is going to happen, Suka. I've decided that. And the general opinion is all the same. We want to do the shows closer to airing time. At the moment, they are recorded a week ahead, which unfortunately means, you know, there's bits in the paper that I want to talk about. Now, this is yesterday's paper. If I tell you, let's choose a picture, and you'll see exactly what I mean. Here we go. So that most people understand this paper is from yesterday, which is Friday, June the 13th, which you see is over a week ago now. And there's a story here about George Bush's visit to London, because he's coming to London. Now, of course, by the time you see this programme, it will have happened. so I can't really talk about things like that, and I could do if it was closer. And as I say, I keep slipping down in a chair here, don't I? I keep saying that this will happen, and it will happen from mid-July. When I've gone up to my sister's, programmes will then catch up, and then when I come back we'll all be bang up to date. I'm also going to record one of the chat shows up at my sister's anyway. Okay, I've decided to do that. Maybe one, maybe two. I certainly want to do one in her garden because I want to show you the outside of the house, because she's got a nice house. Big house, big house. So she says, I've always thought it would be better if there was not such a long gap from the time you record the shows to the time you air them. First of all, you can discuss topical issues in a timely manner, so the content is not old news. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Also, it would be better to read out email responses to subjects you've discussed and questions you've asked closer to the time you've spoken about them, so as to keep the responses in context. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. On the other hand, Suko, sometimes people do say, oh, you were talking about your show, and they might go back a couple of months, because you can, as you know, you can look at all the old shows at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Well, I say look at them. We've only been doing the video stuff since January, okay? But you can go right back to all the audio shows, which are exactly the same as the video ones, but without pictures, right back to October 2005. She said, of course, we'd miss the show if you couldn't do it, but you might rerun an old classic on one of those days. What do you mean, old classic? Beg your pardon, dear? Old classic? Is that what I am now, an old classic? Oh, God. There's no hope, is there? There's no hope for me. Thank you, Suko. Goodbye from now. And that's from Suko. And it's time for me to go. As always, thanks for watching and listening today. Do join in by email. The email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. I didn't get to the cat story, did I? That's because I'm hooking you in for the next show. My poor cat. I'll tell you about her later on the next show. For myself, Chris Reardon, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.